I'm watching my boyfriend slowly become a terrible person. Sorry if this post is worded weirdly, I'm a bit of a wreck. I feel so horrible. That's the only way I can describe it. I don't remember the last time I genuinely felt happy to be living. I've been in love with the same guy since I was like 14, we're 19 and 20 now. I guess it's codependent as fuck, but he really did just make my life so much more worthwhile. He's always been so kind too. The amount of shit he's done for me is ridiculous. Just so fucking smart too. Life of the party everywhere he goes. Genuinely gorgeous. Hilarious. Etc., etc., etc. Just an exceptional example of a human. And now he just isn't. It's like he's dead and been replaced or some shit. He's outwardly cruel to me, not physically, thank God. Rude to strangers. Rude about strangers. Randomly hateful towards certain groups. Looks fucking mad at all times. His body language is so much more aggressive now. When he speaks to people he used to think the world of, it all seems so fake. Like he's having to hide how much they piss him off just for existing. He hardly smiles around me anymore. I don't know why he hasn't left. He seems to borderline hate me. Sex used to be incredible and now he just uses me for a while then goes to sleep. Last night he was telling me I'd put on weight, like 5 pounds, and how disgusting I was going to look if I carried on. Literally out of nowhere. What do I even say to that? I don't know why I'm still here either. I keep trying to seriously talk to him and I just get laughed at, told to fuck off or argued with in some way. I guess I'm just waiting for this to pass and the person I love to come back. I know it's stupid and naive, but I can't help it. He wouldn't have abandoned me if this was the other way round and a year ago. I'm just so disappointed. We both had beyond shitty childhoods and I always admired him for being so fucking great in spite of that. He can't keep this up forever, can he? Eventually something's gonna give. He must be going through some really terrible internal shit to be acting like this. Now he just fleshlights me for a while then goes to sleep. Last night he was telling me I'd put on weight, like 5 pounds, and how disgusting I was going to look if I carried on. This relationship is over. This relationship sounds over. He isn't showing any kind of care for you and uses your body for sex. It's not some terrible internal shit. That's sadly just his true personality. People go through a lot of changes up until the age of 25 and he's changing into an asshole. It's time to cut him loose because he's not what you need. He sounds really bitter. And, as the saying goes, misery loves company. Don't let him pull you down. And remember you can't change someone who won't change themselves. Good luck. Congrats. You've just met your real boyfriend's personality. He can't keep this up forever, can he? You're welcome to wait and see, I guess. You're only hurting yourself by continuing this relationship. He's probably depressed, burnt out, and seriously, who isn't with this pandemic? But you said he's genuinely gorgeous and mentioned the body language. Could be that he's taking steroids or peds? I know this because I used to share a flat with a couple and one of them was the best human being on earth then turned into 12 weeks of roid rage. Also when he wasn't angry, he was depressed to a point of skipping work and not leaving bed. Then years later I found out that this is very common with bodybuilders. He is probably unhappy, depressed. The problem is that I would never hurt my partner by saying hurtful things to them even if I'm depressed. Ask for a break maybe, suggest him a therapist, ask him why is he acting like this all of a sudden. You sound like a very kind and compassionate person, but you have no obligation to make yourself miserable just to try to help him, especially since it's clear he doesn't believe he needs or wants any help. You know how, on airplanes, the safety demonstration emphasizes that you have to put on your own oxygen mask first? Same goes here. Your first job is to take care of yourself, and, I'm sorry, from what you say here, it sounds like getting away from this relationship might be what you need to do. There's a great chance he could be dealing with some serious depression. Well, without knowing y'all it would be hard. What can happen is that he feels unhappy with himself. We are rude to people because it gives us power. Or the illusion of power. He could be a low-status male which tends to bring out antisocial behavior. He probably needs to grow a bit. 20 is the time when you should be learning and growing. If he's not doing that, then this can be the result. This applies for you too. Grow. Learn. Expand your horizon. So many people get stuck in loops of ungrowing behavior at this age. One of the things you can do is to enroll in classes and be a role model for growth. Have deep conversations. At least try. Number 1 for mental health. Get a routine. He will probably follow suit. Attitude is a habit. People grow and change a lot in their teens and early 20s. He's growing into the person he will be, and you have to decide if that's the kind of person you want to spend your life with. I went through this, and finally ended my unhappy relationship after 15 years together. It was hard to face the fact that we had grown up in different directions, and I was in love with the potential person he could be, but that wasn't actually the person he was. He's making his own choices in life, and he needs to learn to accept the consequences of his decisions and actions. By staying, you are only enabling him and making it worse. Perhaps leaving will be a wake-up call to him that he needs to change his life. Sounds like he's on drugs and being rude and defensive as a way to hide it. I wonder if he's secretly gotten into some hostile internet community, like a far-right or conspiracy or black pill type thing. You'll wait forever without some serious action. I suggest you leave for a while. You'll be able to tell how serious he is or isn't about you in his life when you make a serious love to break out of these destructive routines. As much as you want to, you can't change someone. At best, you can only help a bit. But they need to want to change themselves. It doesn't really sound like he wants to change. And this sounds miserable for you. I think it's time to go. He would have abandoned me if it were the other way around. He already abandoned you. He's just using you for sexual pleasure at this point. I am sorry. He's 19 and turning into an adult. Perhaps he is maturing into a person you are not compatible with. The biggest mistake you can make is ignoring the signs that he's no longer the right person for you or thinking you can change him or that he'll change on his own. If being with him makes you so viscerally upset, I think you have your answer. What happened to him? Is he on alcohol? What happened to him? Did anything life-changing happen? You should perhaps consult his friends and family what could have happened. Perhaps a meeting with everyone and to figure what would be the best solution would be the best option. Any chance he's been prescribed or started taking Adderall or other ad stimulants? I've taken most of THM, and everyone is different, but wow, Adderall can bring out this angry monster that never goes away for some people. The disdain for others and complete aggression sounds so spot on for Adderall crankiness. Not definitive, but worth asking. Because if he is taking them, I would absolutely start there. If not, then it sounds like you're seeing his true side. Some people also become monsters instead of just telling their significant other they're not into them anymore. They could spare both parties if they were just honest, but I've experienced this a few times and witnessed it many times and it seems fairly common. Good luck op. Mentally prep yourself to get out ASAP if needed though. Breaking up with him might be the wake-up call he needs. Regardless of whether you stay or not, don't just let bad behavior slide. If he actually tells you to fuck off, you should say, start treating me better or we're done. He might be unhappy and that's why he's acting this way, but you are not an emotional pincushion. Don't wait for him to change back. He has to want to. Are you sure he wasn't just acting good so you'd like him? Some people can fake it for a long time. Best case is he's going through some shit and not handling it well. That's not the end of the world, but when he's taking it out on you that isn't acceptable. It's time to go your separate ways and spend some time learning how to be you without him, and what healthy relationships look like for the future. Worst case is that he's growing into the man he's going to be forever. And that seems like something you definitely don't want to stick around for. Either way, you do not deserve this treatment. After the initial shock, I can pretty much promise that you'll be happier single than in a relationship with a man who treats you this way. Info: have his politics changed too? It almost sounds like he's being radicalized somewhere. Red pill, maybe. You aren't quite giving enough details here. I have a few questions. Is this sudden? Did this behavior start after a certain event? What major changes have happened in his life? Do you want to continue this relationship? Are you only still here because of the sunken cost fallacy? It does suck to hear, but it may be possible that he doesn't know how to break up with you. When you have never broken up with someone, it is really hard and some people just avoid it. They can become a toxic person in the relationship without even knowing it. It's like they want you to get disgusted with their behavior and break up for them. Good luck. I'm not making excuses for him, but I know for myself that recently I've become nasty, not towards loved ones, but to myself, and I'll make snide comments about strangers even though I know it's wrong because I've hit a low point in life. Maybe he's down, and if that's the case, hopefully he can get help. However, it's no excuse to be cruel. I say end it. What's the point in continuing if he's being awful? If he needs time to sort himself out, if that's the case, as I mentioned, then he can do it as a single man. You know what it feels like to be loved properly, don't let your standards drop. If he won't take you seriously, you need to put yourself first. Could be drugs. Some of the commenters are mentioning steroids. Could be depression. Could be mental illness. That doesn't matter. What matters is that you don't have to stick around for the abuse. If you really want to help him while maintaining your self-respect and self-esteem, then break up with him and help him as a friend. Don't put yourself on fire to keep him warm. People change a lot during those years, and now you are starting to get to know what kind of man he is changing into, which is a man who doesn't deserve you. I know it's hard to realize this when you are the one living it, but it's time to let this relationship. It sounds like a nightmare, and I am really sorry that you have had to experience this, but I don't think it's going to get any better. It just seems like he has grown into this person and there is nothing you could do to fix this. You're both still very young. It's common for teenage relationships to devolve into this as you get older. I would strongly suggest getting out of this as soon as you can before it gets worse. Do you two live together? If so, you should just pack up and leave while he is not home. He doesn't even deserve an explanation, in my opinion. And it will be cleaner this way. You need to prioritize your safety and your happiness. I wish you all the best. Leave him now. Love him or not, just dump his ass. He treats you like shit, you can't talk to him. If you're strong enough, dump him. If not, good luck to you. Children grow into the adults they're going to be. You've been watching that change, and you can see the direction it's headed. He's got about 4 to 8 more years of growing to do, but he's going to keep heading down his path, and you're going to keep heading down yours. If you'd like a glimpse into your future if you stay together, there's this channel called Lifetime that has tons of movies based on it. Teaser. Crying, screaming, abuse. Has he gone to see a psychiatrist yet? Age 18 to 25 is when a lot of psychiatric problems surface, like schizophrenia. No. This is just how he is. You need to accept it for what it is and leave. He isn't who you thought he was anymore. That sounds like steroids. He can't keep this up forever, can he? Eventually something's gonna give. He must be going through some really terrible internal shit to be acting like this. My mum thought the same thing, except she started at 15. She's in her 60s now and still waiting. What you need to establish with him by clearly communicating with each other is if this is temporary, if it's an outside problem or an inside problem, what's he going through, he needs to tell you. If he can't, or won't, well, you'll find out the hard way that love doesn't fix people, people fix themselves. He has a lover. I'm not saying he's the victim, but something is wrong. Mentally something bad is happening. Dude needs help. You don't need his agreement or consent to leave. Just pack up and go. No one needs someone this horrible a fixture in their lives. Is he using drugs or has some kind of traumatic injury or event happened? Either way, it doesn't seem healthy for you to remain with him. He's not your responsibility. Your only responsibility is to yourself and making sure you're happy and treated with respect. I'm guessing he was the guy who had it all in high school, good-looking, popular, life of the party as you say. But now that high school is over, he hasn't done anything with his life and doesn't have a career or purpose to work towards, and as a result resents everyone else he knows because they are moving on and doing things with their lives? Am I close at all? Bottom line though is that if you aren't happy you need to leave. Which from the sound of your post you already know you need to. It could actually be a medical problem. People with malfunctioning thyroids have rage issues. Or on a more darker note, it can be brain cancer. Sounds like he doesn't like how his life is going and is blaming you and everyone else in the world for how it's going. It's very rare that people wake up. They tend to just get more bitter. You leaving could be the thing that stops this. Do not hang your life onto a decision you made when you were 14. Neither one of you were alerts yet. Everyone has covered the other possibilities like mental illness, drugs, end of puberty etc., but I'm going to suggest one more, a brain tumor. Sudden changes in personality can also be attributed to that. Even at his age, would he agree to be medically evaluated or he'd take offense? I'd leave though. Maybe he has a brain tumor. OMFG, quit asking questions that shouldn't be questions. Spiritual stuff. He's gonna need some quiet time soon. Something is changing him, and it's not something you can help him with. Speaking as someone in a similar age group going through stuff that changes me for the worse in some ways too. Sorry to hear your 5-year relationship is basically gone now. Abuse is abuse. Refrain from making excuses for his behavior. What has been going on in his life that may have precipitated this change? Is he online more? Hanging out with different groups of people? Drugs? It's strange for someone to just go through a massive change like this for no reason. That said, it's not your job to fix him. Don't get stuck in sunk cost fallacy. Just because you've been with him a while doesn't mean you're obligated to stay when he's an asshole.